in action doubleheader. Well, you're playing against the Wanderers this weekend, who have largely been pretty stingy defensively. I know that's not something you have to worry about quite so much, but do you feel pretty confident you can break them down and keep some good form rolling?
Yeah, look, I mean, to be honest, we've been a little bit disappointed with our form, even though we have had some good results. And it's not being critical. We're just, we keep it pretty real within the group, and we know that form-wise, we aren't actually where we want to be. And I think the biggest aim for us this weekend is, obviously in focusing on ourselves, is just to return to that form that we had in the earlier rounds, particularly in our first encounter with Adelaide and our second game with Victory. I think, that was when we hit our best form. And so for us, it's just about regaining the momentum that we had in those games and, refinding that against the Wanderers this weekend.
Obviously, Holly played such a big role in your early season great run. Is she right to play? Because we know she came off but didn't get too much. Is she right to return this week?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're hoping that she can contribute massively to the game on the weekend, and there's no denying that her contribution in games is obviously, resulting in big results. And she's a star player in our team, and we're really going to, value having her back. And our, aim is to have her out there for the full game. We'll see what happens. But I know that whatever part of the game that she does play, that, she'll give us her best and she will contribute.
She was pretty impressive with the cameos and the start we saw with the Matildas. She obviously went into that camp in great form, and she wouldn't have wanted, the Matildas wouldn't have wanted to come back as early as they did. But you've got the sort of experience. What will it do for her, having been, I guess, rewarded, gone over there, done pretty well, and then come back into a league she was already doing well in?
Oh, I mean, firstly, we're so proud of her. I mean, she came in, it's her first W League season, and she's just shown such confidence. And for a young player to play at the level and of the standard that she does is really quite phenomenal. And I think everyone now on a world stage has seen that. She didn't just show it in the A-League Women's here. She's now shown it internationally as well. And I think that is, a true credit to how hard she does actually work. And she's had a lot of setbacks, to be honest, injury-wise recently. So to come back at the level that she has after those setbacks is unbelievable. And I think, this is just the beginning for her. So if she continues in the way that she's going, not only will she have an amazing season with us here at City, she's going to do big things internationally as well.
Yes, Emma, it is the elephant in the room that every Matildas player or player in and around the Matildas setup will be asked in the wake of the Asian Cup, the early exit in the quarterfinals. What do you think went wrong?
Oh, I mean, it's hard not being in there to know exactly what went wrong. I think the reality is it's disappointing, and I know that the girls would be feeling that way. I think it's hard on the outside for me personally to be too critical of it without knowing the exact ins and outs. I think we definitely looked unshackled a little bit in that game, and I think even though we did have chances, we obviously did still struggle to execute those. And I think there are, critical points aside, there were still positives to take in the sense that Sam had some really amazing opportunities, and in any other game maybe they would have gone in, but we can't solely rely on her to win every game for us. And I think maybe that was part of the problem, that there weren't other big chances from many other players. But yeah, in saying that, like I said, it's very hard to critique it when I'm not too sure of the ins and outs of it. But what I do know is that the girls will show a lot of strength in character in making sure that things bounce back from there.
Bob just mentioned she spoke to my colleague Ed recently about in the wake of that, Emma, and she mentioned she'd like to see more sort of hardened players. She mentioned yourself, and there's been a couple of others that have been around the league. I think she said Claire Hunt and a couple of others too, that maybe should be more frequently in squads. I mean, how do you feel? Where do you see yourself at in terms of these? Because you've obviously got a lot of A-League women caps under your belt. You've got some national team experience. I mean, where do you feel like things are at for you? And I mean, I guess what do you think of that in terms of more players that have got those extra years and games under the...
Yeah, I think she makes an important point, and I feel like I have two responses to that. Is one, that I understand the decision to try and progress and develop the youth and the younger players coming through, but I can't help but feel like it is really challenging being in that mid-20s age bracket that does feel like there's a few of us that are not necessarily getting that same opportunity. But I guess, that's sport. Different coaches want different things and have different plans. And so I guess the reality is you can only control so much. So for me, I just am focusing on controlling my performance, and I'm really enjoying our season here. And obviously it helps having success. But for me, if I keep performing and playing consistently, then at least I know for myself that I'm giving myself every chance. And obviously my bigger goals are to be a consistent part of the squad, so I do hope that time does come, but I feel like I'm at peace with knowing that I'm doing everything in my control at the moment.
On the game this weekend, Emma, coming up against Western Sydney Wanderers, who are at present historically bad offensively. They're on track to be the worst attack in A-League women's history. You as a defender, how do you stay sharp and stay at 100%, knowing that you're not exactly coming up against Sydney FC's attack here? You're coming up a side that seemingly can't score to help themselves.
I think for me personally, to be honest, these can sometimes actually end up being the hardest games to mentally prepare for, because the reality is that they do have quality. I just don't think it's they've really found their full potential yet, and at some point they will find that. So we have to be prepared that it could be against us. And so I think in terms of preparation, nothing changes, whether it's Sydney FC or Wanderers or anyone. There's upsets all the time, and we have to be sharp and on our toes, because like I said, our form has been off from where we want it to be, and especially in the way that we've started probably the first 30 minutes of the last, I would say, 3 games. So I think for me, it's just I just want to be rock solid for those first 30 minutes so we can find our feet and start strong.
You mentioned a couple of times, Emma, about the form being down and trying to get there right. Have you guys identified anything in particular? Is it intensity you mentioned a bit of the intensity from the start. Is there anything pinned down as to what's maybe not clicking or going the way that you really want it?
I think, to be honest, it's just a little bit of a lack of confidence, and we have belief, and there's so much belief in the group, and we have a really special group, and it's amazing to be a part of this. And I think the biggest thing is just regaining that individual confidence, because it's we have confidence in each other, but I think we have to dig a little bit deeper and find it within ourselves. And I honestly believe that's the only missing piece right now, because tactically we understand what we're trying to execute. We're sound in our decision making once we do get into the game, and so it really is, it's showing that it's a mindset thing, because we finished strong, and we were 1-0 down with very limited time against Brisbane, and to an extent you can say we got lucky, but we also didn't give up. So I think it shows that we have the quality, we just have to bring it out sooner in the game.
Just on that, your defence, you've obviously in the past in this City team, you've almost been the younger one amongst some, really experienced, when you had obviously Lauren Barnes and Steph Catley and some others, and now you're the one very much marshalling it, and you've got Winnie Heatley as a young, real up-and-comer. How have you enjoyed that? Because it does seem like you're thriving on, obviously you've had the responsibility of captaincy, but of really being the general in this defence.
I really enjoy the challenge of it, to be honest, and I think, my job's made easier being around other girls that want to rise to the challenge as well. And I feel really fortunate to have Tori and Winnie either side of me, and even with the wingbacks, like we've got so much depth as well, with Naomi coming through, and it honestly feels like an honour for me to be able to guide them and prepare them for the next part of their career as well. I think it is it feels like I've taken on a different role, and I think even though I am still young, it's crazy to think that this is my 11th year in the league. It makes me feel old when I say it like that, but it's just, it is a different position to be in, but I do really enjoy it. And the reality is I'm still learning, and the girls next to me are still teaching me things as well. So even though I am essentially marshalling the line, I'm spending every day learning from them too.
Is there anything that you're trying to hone in on your game? We saw you hit the scoreboard with a pretty lovely volley the other week. You've looked pretty threatening at times at set pieces. What are or even defensively, what are the things that you're trying to really, I guess, kick on with and take to another level, especially when you've got that sort of Matildas lurking in the background, and also looking for silverware? I'm sure you want to take the game to another level.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger goal is just as many clean sheets as possible, but I guess I want to do that in the most tidy way we can. And I think one of the great things about being at this club is that we want to play football, and it's challenged me because it's really forced me to fine-tune areas that I've probably gotten away with in the past. And I would say that when I was younger, my athleticism probably covered up for some areas that I wasn't so great at. And I think being here has forced me to address those. So I think it's just, fine-tuning my decision-making on the ball, my positioning, my body shape, just all those little 1%ers that can change a game. So, it's not necessarily just one thing. I think it's just fine-tuning those broader areas. And, again, keeping as many clean sheets as we can is any defender's goal, I think.
Maybe just quickly from me, speaking of keeping clean sheets, Bubs stepped into the breach when she probably wasn't expecting to this season, and judging from the Brisbane game, she's putting her body very much on the line for the side. Are you surprised that she still got it despite her age, or?
Nothing surprises me with her. She's like a superhero. I don't know how she does it. She's just, it's like she gets better with age, and the way that she plays, she trains like that every day, and it's no surprise that she can pull off those moments in a game because she pulls them off every day at training. And she's the heart and soul of our team, and we're all so lucky to have her. And it's people like her that raise the bar and drive the quality and the culture of this group. So for me, no, I'm not surprised, but I'm in awe, and it's quite admirable, to be honest, that she is still able to put her body on the line like that.
How much longer can she go? She could be back next season?
Hell yeah, she will.